Trials of Mana, yet another fantastic remake from actually a Super Nintendo game back in the 90s. It wasn't originally released here in the US. It was released in Japan as Seiken Densetsu 3, part of the Seiken Densetsu trilogy, which was sort of a spin-off of Final Fantasy, at least here in the States. The first one was called Final Fantasy Adventure, and then it was Secret of Mana, now Trials of Mana. This, once again, was I think this was the first, from the ground up game that was based on an old pixel-style RPG. But they changed a lot of gameplay elements, so let's give it a little review, and let's talk about it. So as far as the gameplay goes, it is an action RPG. It reminds me combat-wise a lot of Kingdom Hearts, except you're kind of locked in like a little ring as soon as you engage with enemies. It's not sort of like an open battlefield. It is easy to lock on, it's easy to target enemies. The problem is sometimes it feels like the combat can be a little unfocused, and what I mean by that is you can miss easily. At least I can miss easily, because I'm really bad at using the targeting system. A couple RPG elements that you will see in the game, there are skill tree elements, not the same as what you see in other things. It's sort of like a skill hexagon, and you get skill points at each level, and you use those skill points to try and unlock more abilities for your character. One of the big things with Trials of Mana is the class upgrades, and this actually is involved in the story itself. So when you follow the story of, say, Duran, who is my personal favorite, he starts off the game as sort of a young up-and-coming knight, but gets wiped out right from the get-go from the Crimson Wizard, and someone tells him, like, oh, you need to up your class. That's how you're going to get stronger. And so he starts finding out how to do that and gathers a couple other companions that you'll actually pick out from the beginning. You pick out 3 characters from the beginning. We'll get into that a little bit later. And you'll upgrade your classes. Now, each class has a branching path, so you'll have a quote-unquote good and quote-unquote evil path. They're not necessarily good and evil. It's sort of like a light path and a dark path. Each time you unlock another class, which the original game you would unlock up to 3. Now that there is a end game with Trials of Mana Remake, there's a 4th class that you'll get after you beat the main villain of the original story. As the game goes on, you'll unlock more classes, and you'll actually be able to reset them and then unlock them again and just see which sort of class path you would prefer. Now, one of my favorite points of the game, at least as far as the gameplay aspect, is the wheels for your magic and for your items. You just press up or down on your D-pad and it'll open up a little wheel to use your magic spells or pick out items, which I think is probably one of the best item sorting systems I've ever seen. Another system that you'll see in the game is item seeds. You'll pick up item seeds throughout the world or from enemy drops. The more rare the seed, the better rewards you're going to get. And as you plant more seeds, your little seed sprout thing will level up to level 5. That's where it maxes out. And if you can find rainbow seeds, you're going to get the best equipment out of those. So look for the rainbow seeds. But you'll see like the double question mark seeds. Those you won't know what to do with from the get-go, but your character will figure out, oh, these are for the big class seeds. So you'll put those in and they'll unlock the item you need to get the second to final class now. So there's not a lot of elements. It's a pretty light game, but as far as gameplay goes, it's easy to wrap your head around. It is a lot of fun, and yeah, that's about the best way to put it. It's a lot of fun. Now, getting into the story part of it, each character, so you'll pick out from 6 characters. Every 2 characters, like Angela and Duran, or Hawkeye and Reese, will have a tied story. So there's 3 mainline stories with a specific boss. However, the stories don't really vary that much. The variables you'll find are basically how events play out until you get to the Benevolence part, and then at that point, things kind of play out exactly the same until you get to the final boss, and the final boss will change depending on who you pick. As far as the gameplay aspect goes, it runs the same as any other action RPG. You get to a new town, you're going to want to buy the new equipment, go to the dungeon, beat the boss, go to the next area. The story is pretty linear, but the game itself is a semi-open world. As you unlock more, you'll be able to explore more in the world, and you'll unlock a giant turtle thing that you'll get to ride on around the sea, and further in the game you'll unlock a dragon that will let you fly and even get you to the final area. Traveling the world actually is a lot of fun. Like I said, the story variation really doesn't vary that much. You'll have 2 characters, so like I said, Duran, Angela. Charlotte, Kevin, and Hawkeye and Reese, they each have a story that's intertwined. Each of them will have a specific villain that they'll face off at the end, but there's no real variation in the story at that point. I did notice playing this game on Switch 2 that the frame rate seems to have gone up quite a bit. I remember originally on the Switch 1, it's 30 FPS. It's playable. It's nothing to write home about. It's playable. Am I being a snob again?
I'm just being a snob.
But when I was playing it on the Switch 2, it definitely felt smoother. Like rotating the camera felt much more stable and not as much jarring. And I did notice some pop-in, but it wasn't as bad as it was before. As far as the aesthetics go, it's a pretty big bump up from the original 2D pixel version, depending on who you ask. In my opinion, it is a big bump up.
I'm just saying.
I like the aesthetic that they used. It's very anime-esque, but with a distinct artistic style. So as far as aesthetics go, I think it's a beautifully rendered game, a very light color palette, and it's funny, this game kind of takes a more whimsical side of RPGs. It's not as heavy. There's no like darker themes. There's some darker moments, but nothing that's so overbearingly heavy that it kind of drags you down. You kind of feel, at least I felt pretty light throughout the game. As far as the music goes in the game, I really enjoyed the music. There's some really fun songs in here, particularly the, what's it called? The Heaven's Way or something like that? I'll put it on the screen. Yeah, the theme for that one is probably my favorite in the game. That one was very fun to listen to. Another really cool thing that this game has, you can pick from the original sound style, so like the original pixel version. You can pick from the original soundtrack or the remake soundtrack, which I think is cool. Gives you a little bit of nostalgia. Now, I will say the voice acting in this game is definitely not top-notch.
Stay with me. Hawkeye, you did the right thing.
It's probably the worst part of it, but it's, like I said, this game is meant to be a little whimsical. It's not meant to be a serious RPG. It's just meant to be fun, which is what this channel is. It's meant to be fun. Sort of that filler to kind of lighten the mood, you know? So I think reviewing this, definitely worth it. My overall opinion of Trials of Mana, I think it's worth a shot. I think it's worth everyone trying at least once. Like I said, it's pretty lighthearted. It's pretty easy to get through. It's not a super long story. I think I got all the way through, like, start to finish, probably in about 20-25 hours. I at least got through the main story in about 20 hours, which I think I was only playing on normal mode, so that should go to show it's not exactly a hard game. It's high on my recommendation list, and I'll go ahead and put my little personal score up here. Try the game out. I think you'll enjoy it. So I hope you enjoyed today's little video. If you have any comments, leave them down below. If you have any friends that you want to share the video to, by all means. Make sure you like. If you haven't already, subscribe. We're trying to build up our sub count. We want to get as many people a nice reprieve as possible. I know things can be a little rough out in the world, and every now and then it's nice to go somewhere that isn't so dramatic. I guess we'll put it that way. So, until next time, I hope you enjoyed this one.